How's it going, everybody? Thank you for checking out my channel and welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be doing a complete guide of Uber Tristram. Now this is going to be more so a beginner's guide for people that either are struggling with Ubers, just want to know more about the basics and the stats of them. Also, people that are brand new to the franchise because of Diablo 2 Resurrected. The things we're going to be covering in this video are going to be stats, strategies on how to be able to kill them efficiently, things to look out for, different build guides, and a lot more. So if any of you guys want to skip to the parts that interest you most, please use the timestamps down in the description of the video so that way you guys can go to the parts that interest you most if you do not have the ability to watch the full thing through. Now, when looking at the video, you're going to see that there's a mix of Diablo 2 LOD featuring the Plugy mod and also Diablo 2 Resurrected. I wanted to go through and make this a guide that you can use for any version of the game. That way it is just a one-stop shop to be able to get all the information that you need to know. With that in mind, we all know of the bigger content creators that have amazing content that we all enjoy. But for this video, I wanted to give a little bit of an extra shine to some of the content that I see just flying underneath the YouTube algorithm radar, whether they be from smaller channels, bigger channels, some that are starting to grow, or some that just simply put out the content with no means of care for wanting to grow or monetize their channel. I wanted to give a little bit of an extra shine and shout out some of these channels, which you'll be able to find the names all up here if you guys want to go check them out. I highly suggest you do. And that's actually what's going to substitute for the comment shout out of this video. It's going to be simply channel shout outs to fill in some of the gaps that I was not able to collect myself, because again, I don't play Diablo 2 Resurrected. I've never actually played online for Diablo 2. And I wanted to use, with fair use, some of the clips and highlight some of the ideas that I wanted to collect and show for the new game that just came out. With that said, let's get right into the guide, and I hope you guys enjoy.
Not even death can save you from me.
Greetings, mortals. I knew you would find your way back here.
Uber Tristram was an event created for additional endgame play, originally exclusive to playing on Battle.net only. However, with mods for single player and in Diablo 2 Resurrected, you can now experience this as well. To be able to go to Uber Tristram, there are key things needed to find a longer playthrough in Hell difficulty. You will need to find Keys of Terror from the Countess, Quest 4 of Act 1, Keys of Hatred from the Summoner, Quest 5 of Act 2, and Keys of Destruction from Lilith, Quest 4 of Act 5. These characters will need to be farmed, meaning killed more than once for the odds of key drops to increase, with some players farming them for hundreds of runs to better the chances of enough keys for multiple Uber Tristram runs. Once you have collected enough keys, the very least being 3 of each, you will need to make your way to Hrothgar of Act 5. It will take 1 of each key transmuted in the Hrothgar cube to open 1 of 3 portals. The portals that will be opened up are the Matron's Den, the Forgotten Sands, and the Furnace of Pain. It's best to open up all 3 portals in the same game to guarantee that all 3 are opened up instead of, for example, collecting 1 of each key, opening up a portal, and in another game repeating the process, as what portals are opened up are randomized and could potentially reopen a portal that you don't need to enter. So to guarantee all 3 open, do so in the same game. Each portal has a unique monster inside it that has an organ that you will need to retrieve. Izual. For the Furnace of Pain, you will need to find the mini Uber Izual, but compared to his Quest 1 of Act 4 counterpart, this one is much more difficult to beat. His health pool is larger, deals more damage, is much faster, and his elemental resistances are all at 75, with his cold tapped out above 100. However, his weakest resistance is physical at 30. A lower res one could help with his resistances. However, don't expect him to stand in place as you cast it, as he now has the ability to teleport. Along with teleport, he also uses Frost Nova and Chilling Armor to slow characters down, especially melee ones. Once you have gotten through similar monster types commonly seen when running through the Chaos Sanctuary and killed Izual, he will drop Mephisto's brain, one of the 3 organs needed to enter Uber Tristram. Lilith. In the Matron's Den, you will find the mini Uber Lilith. She physically appears the same as Duriel. However, her stats speak of her but on steroids. She is much faster than Duriel, and the amount of poison damage she can inflict in 1 hit is enough to quickly drain your health down to 1 in a few seconds. The best way to counter her poison is to drink several antidote potions, as they will stack for time of which they are effective, giving most players a chance to find and kill her before their own poison res comes into question. For her stats, her elemental resistances are at 75, with poison being capped out above 100. Her damage output, adding in her attack rating being incredibly high, and her poison damage being very deadly for most builds, can add to being 1 or 2 shotted by her with ease. A lower res one may help, but if Izual's speed was fast, Lilith is even faster. Without something between you and her, or an incredibly high health pool, the ability to utilize it may be outdone by her attacks. However, if a curse is wanted to be placed upon her. Typically, players seem to resort to using life tap instead, to keep their health pool up as high and long as possible. Once you have fought your way through similar monster types, commonly found in the Forgotten Tower, or versions of the Hell Temptress within the vast maze structure and have managed to kill Lilith, she will drop you Diablo's Horn, one of the 3 organs needed to enter Uber Tristram. Duriel. In the Forgotten Sands, you will find the mini Uber Duriel, and for those who may have struggled with him as the Act Boss of Act 2, he is even more powerful and difficult to beat here. He is faster, has a higher health pool, has the same Holy Freeze aura and the same charging attack. However, he now regenerates his health twice as fast, and for melee attacks, he has a second one, if effective, will deal between 40 to 50% bonus to the damage amount, with over a second of stun length. His elemental resistances are all at 75, and his weakest resistance being physical at 50. One tactic that helps with his chilling and freezing is to chug thawing potions. As with the antidote potions, the timers of their effectiveness towards your res stacks together. Also, take caution in casting either lower res or life tap on him, as if he stuns you, by the time you come out of it, he could have dealt another hit to stun you again, so have something either between you or him, such as a mercenary, a summon, or if you can charge or teleport away, then cast. Once you have navigated through the huge open plains filled with similar monster types commonly found all throughout Act 2 and killed Duriel, he will drop you Baal's Eye, one of the 3 organs needed to enter Uber Tristram. With all of the mini Ubers, they share a few things in common. All of their area levels are 83, and none of them can be chilled or frozen. However, you can still use Decrepify, such as from a Reaper's Toll, to be able to slow them down. Once you've collected all 3 of the organs from the mini Ubers, Mephisto's Brain, Baal's Eye, and Diablo's Horn, return back to Haraga. Place the organs in the cube by themselves, and from anywhere within town, transmute them and a red portal will appear. This is the entrance to Uber Tristram. Before going in, a few precautionary ideas to consider. It's best to have your resistances capped as high as you can, so potentially proccing Fade from Treachery could help with that. Also, if using a CTA, it's best to use battle orders before entering Uber Tristram, as any monsters or demons could spawn at the entrance of the portal. Use a waypoint or leave town momentarily, and buff yourself and any other characters joining you. Lastly, have full rejuves at the ready at all times. For consideration, at least 2 of your 4 slots in your belt should be dedicated to full rejuves, as the Ubers can do considerable damage that even a regular rejuve wouldn't be able to bring your health up enough to save you. When entering Uber Tristram, what you will see will depend on how you are playing the game. Vanilla Diablo 2 Lord of Destruction single player doesn't have the ability to run Uber Tristram, as it was exclusive to online multiplayer and ladder only. However, thanks to mods such as Plugy 1.13 and versions prior to that, Ubers were an addition added to single player playthroughs. However, this version doesn't have any minions accompanying the Ubers. All that was inside Uber Tristram was Uber Baal, Uber Mephisto, and Pandemonium Diablo, as Uber Diablo was already created, better known as Diablo Clone. The stats of the Ubers are consistent amongst any of the versions of the game, single player and online. Uber Baal. Arguably the easiest of the 3 to defeat. Compared to his Hell difficulty counterpart, he has a bigger health pool, deals more damage, and regenerates his health at twice the amount as he does at the end of Act 5. His lightning, magic, and poison res are all capped. His fire res is above 100, and cold is even higher. However, his physical resistance is at 50. When it comes to his attacks, what you saw at the end of Act 5 is what to expect here, as he has no new skills. However, he deals more damage in Uber Tristram. These are the skills to expect. His melee attacks are not above dealing anything above 500. However, they come with very high attack rating. When he spawns his clone, to tell them apart, his clone cannot teleport, and the word demon under his name is aligned with his name on his clone, where in the real Baal, he has demon starting from the first A in his name, Pandemonium Diablo. If you have faced Diablo Clone, or Uber Diablo, there's quite a difference between the 2 as far as resistances. However, their health pools and their attacks, both for melee and skills, aren't very different. Skills listed here. I'm comparing these 2 because, in going through the versions of Diablo, Uber comes before Pandemonium, and the comparison between Hell and Pandemonium Diablo is more drastic. And considering you're wanting to know more about Uber Tristram, I'd think you'd be either wanting to partake in fighting Uber Diablo, or have already encountered him before. If this is the case, check out my guide I made going through getting to know about Uber Diablo, as well as how to be able to get him to spawn faster in your game if you're using Plugy, as well as just understanding his spawn mechanics. When it comes to Pandemonium Diablo, his resistances for lightning, magic, and poison are all capped at the normal level of 75 compared to Uber at 95. Pandemonium Diablo also has fire res above 100, and his cold res even higher. However, his physical res is at 50. Uber Mephisto. This is arguably the hardest of the 3 to defeat, and for good reason. He is a melee character's worst nightmare, even more so than Duriel. Uber Mephisto, compared to his Hell difficulty counterpart, deals more damage both from melee and skills, and his resistances, as far as cold, fire, and magic are all capped, with lightning and poison being above 100. and his physical res being the lowest of the 3 Ubers at 20. What makes him so deadly are the skills he casts that have the greatest range of AoE, or area of effect. All 3 have the Nova skill, as well as a one-directional skill for a large amount of damage. Diablo has his lightning hose that deals both fire and lightning, and can reach just outside of frame. Firestorm, which causes trails of fire that lead from Diablo towards you that go well out of screen. Baal has his mana rift that can stretch to about 3/4 of your screen and drain around 50% of your mana. Hoarfrost, which is a very powerful cold attack in the shape of a V and can also take up most of your screen. If they stand in its path, they can be knocked back and slowed down, even continuously knocked back and slowed down with continuous hits, making it to where they completely go out of frame from where Baal is. And Mephisto can cast lightning, as well as his skull missile, sometimes from out of screen if fighting anything close to him, for a lot of cold damage. However, Mephisto also has 3 additional skills that alone can make players vulnerable to quick deaths, but if used together, can leave many one-shotted. When first seeing him, he releases a poison nova that quickly works at draining your health, as well as with each successful hit on him, releases charge bolts that, if cannot be avoided, starts reducing a player's health quickly, especially with consistent hits, if not with proper lightning res to counter them. And lastly, he has a level 21 conviction aura that will reduce your res by negative 125%, making you even more vulnerable, especially if the Ubers fight you together. In Plugy 1.13 that lacks minions, there are ways to be able to defeat them much easier than going in without any plans. One of the most common ideas is the separation of the Ubers, taking them on one by one to make the fights easier and more survivable. Of the 3, Diablo will give chase more than the other 2, and to either lure him inside of a building, corner him where he can't attack you, or lead him away from the other 2 and make him use his lightning hose and quickly run to get distance from him will help him be separated. Baal can be separated, however don't rely on him teleporting around like a sorceress or one with Enigma would. He will follow, but it will take a lot longer to do so. Mephisto is the least likely to chase, as he tends to move quickly only if he kills you and floats around your body to gloat in his accomplishment. Another tactic that is used, especially when it comes to farming torches and to help with survivability, is to be able to drag one of the Ubers, preferably the last one, over to the portal. When you are fighting him, if you feel that you are in danger, or you need to be able to restock on rejuves, or to be able to repair your equipment, go ahead and step out of the portal and do as you need to before rejoining the fight. Especially when it comes to collecting the torch, this makes it really easy to be able to run in, grab your torch, and run back out. Make sure all of your resistances are capped, and if possible, wear gear that has an elemental absorb to it, especially for Uber Mephisto. Even on the cheapest of builds, absorb isn't necessary, however for your survivability, it is important to consider. T-Gods is the most commonly used item to help counter Uber Mephisto's lightning attacks, and if you're a paladin, having them be either a level 20 or preferably a level 21 conviction will make Mephisto easier. Level 20 cancels any use of conviction by you or Uber Mephisto, but having level 21 overrides his, making your conviction work on him instead of his working on you. Also, make sure that you use any gear that has crushing blow and open wounds, especially with the idea of not wanting the Ubers to be able to regenerate their health. Anything that has any source of open wounds is going to be really beneficial to your build, as Prevent Monster Heal does not work on any Ubers. For playing online, in Plugy 1.14, Project Diablo 2, or in Diablo 2 Resurrected, you will encounter the Ubers with their minions. The minions that will spawn will have resistances to them, with the Pit Lords being immune to everything except physical. All of the minions will also be much harder to defeat than their Hell counterparts, with more health and deal more damage. They can be dragged away if needed. For dealing with the minions, there's a few skills that can help with crowd control, despite many builds not using them, or at least be 1-point wonders. For the Amazon, using a decoy or Valkyrie will help draw attention away from you, even if it's just to escape. With the Assassin, Mind Blast is great for both its knockback, but also the chance to convert a monster onto your side for a brief period of time. There's also the Shadow Warrior and Shadow Master to help fight alongside you. The Necromancer can make use of Bone Wall or Bone Prison. However, doing so could aggro others over and make it difficult to contain everyone. Also, the use of Golems could act as a shield, even as a means of getting away. A Druid has numerous summons that he can use even if they get killed in one hit. It may be all that is needed to escape or to reposition. The Sorcerers can make use of Telekinesis as a means of knockback. Also, Glacial Spike and Blizzard can help freeze or slow down minions to allow for the ability to get away. And the Barbarian has arguably the best crowd control with Howl, making any minions in range of hearing it run away and make a clear path towards the Ubers. There are other means of crowd control, but these were just a few examples. For casting Life Tap, whether it be a skill or granted from an item, it's ideal to have all the Ubers close together so it's effective against all of them at once, making survivability easier regardless of whom you are fighting. For players who have chance to cast Life Tap on striking from their gear, the easiest way is to have the biggest group together possible or the Ubers all in frame, and start attacking what is close and won't deal a lot of damage to you as you're waiting for it to proc. Doing this helps with survivability while waiting, and also once it does proc, You can continue the fight knowing every hit you land will help refill your health without relying on rejuves. When it comes to playing without minions, this is where it can be a lot more fun to experiment with what you have available, compared to farming for the high-end endgame gear needed. Budget characters are a lot more viable in this situation, such as a smiter using nothing more than an IO rune to effectively kill Ubers, a frenzy barb with no more than rune used, or even going completely out of the box and having a Valkyrie and a Merc solo Ubers with no deaths. However, when facing minions, there are characters that are more ideal for both survivability and clear speed. Some include the Kixen, Fury Druid, Summon Necro, Endgame Gear Frenzy Barb, and the best build being the Smiter, and oddly enough, the weapon of choice for the fastest run wasn't with a rune word like Grief or Last Wish, but with a 6 open socket phase blade with 4 Burr runes and 2 Shale runes. I think only he was wealthy enough for that one, but he set the record with this build. Obviously there are a lot of other builds that can kill Ubers. Some may take longer to be able to get through all of them, but depending on your playstyle and the enjoyment of the build, it may be something that you can actually make work. Once Uber Baal, Uber Mephisto, and Pandemonium Diablo are defeated, regardless of what order you kill them in, the last to die will always drop a unique large charm and the Standard of Heroes. The Standard of Heroes is just a trophy of accomplishment. However, the unique large charm is a hellfire torch, collected for its boost to +3 skills for a specific class of character, and it will always come with +3 to skills, as well as the 10 to 20 for both resistances and attributes. The roll of the torch is random for what class skill it benefits, as well as 11 chances from 10 to 20 for resistances, and 11 chances, again 10 to 20, for attributes, making it equally difficult to get the sought-after 20/20 or the dreaded 10/10. Player's difficulty will do nothing for the torch roll, just as it does nothing for the Annihilus charm roll. It is up to RNG or random number generation, which is why it's recommended running Ubers on player's 1 difficulty if doing so on single player. Whereas online, the bigger the party you go with, the more difficult overall it'll be to get your torch. And that's going to be it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed and were able to learn a little bit more about running Ubers. If you guys like this kind of content and want to see more, please hit the subscribe button and hit the bell notification to be notified whenever a new video comes out. And if you like this video, let me know by leaving a like, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.